Alright. Tonight is Floating Yoga Fundamentals, so it's the book club. We rocking and riding, we vibing with The Only Way Out Is In, IG. What up with you? Let me know where you at when you in the chat. Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, and that other one, YouTube. Let me know when I can respond to you in the chat there too. So we're going on The Only Way Out Is In, and like I've been mentioning, we've been going over, it's the breakdown of yoga, Ayurveda, and Tantra, and how they're the three sister sciences that create the pyramid of health. Last week week before last we went over the concepts of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and then we went into which were the different energies that are in the body, and that comprise like the makeup of things. And before the week before that, we went over the elements, the 5 base elements that create all the components of life. And last week, the interesting part, we were getting into taste, we were getting into Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, which is a state of excitement, a state of rest, and like a state of contentment, balance in between. And those are different qualities of the mind. And we also went into how the mind and digestion are connected. So this week, boom, we're digging into Ama and Agni on chapter 8 on page 101. If you have the book, you know what I'm saying, I'm going to give you a few minutes to tune in while I pay some bills. Peace and love, yet again. This is brought to you by UE, Urban Yogic Wellness and Education, re-envisioning and reimagining how we see health holistically in our life, and different ways to implement, to find that foundation, and then from there, grow and evolve. What else is this paid by? This is also paid by, you hear those sounds in the background? Yes, indeed. These sounds in the background are from No Commercials International. DJ Thrill got us locked down with the different sounds. You can check us on all streaming platforms. Just go and give it a download. That's a little bit of support right there, and then go and give it a share. Then there is my classes, because that's how we can stay in touch, keep the community going, keep ourselves growing spiritually, physically, and mentally. And Monday night we have the book club. We'll set the foundation. And Tuesday, and the playback is available on YouTube, on Instagram, and also on my website. Tuesday is Ashtanga, where we flowing it out. That's what really got me into yoga, and it's also one of the breakdowns in this here book that we're going over. So we'll get to it eventually, and I think he explains it a little bit easier than I do, a little bit more simple than I do. Then there's Thursday coming up, midday meditations, where we're gonna breathe, we're gonna meditate, get the mind right, maybe have some discussion, chop it up a little bit, and then move on, refreshed and ready to go about the day. Saturday we are back at it. The health and wellness expos for Saturday are done, to my knowledge. We'll see if anything changes. And we're back flowing Saturday at 10:30. All classes are by donate. Oh, and Sunday we have an elevated sift and flow. There's only 8 tickets available. It is in Northeast DC. It would be great to have you, and sign up is on my website, thefloatingyogi.com. You can check it down there. What else is there? I feel like I covered it all. What's up? Peace, IG. Yeah, y'all be jumping in. I'm with the shit. Welcome. Alright, so page 101, Agni and Ama. And I was mentioning before digestion, how that's correlated to how we digest thoughts in the mind. Agni and Ama. Agni is the fire that burns within and transforms the food that we eat. This is the central fire, or Jathar Agni, located in the lower part of the stomach and the beginning of the small intestine. This is where various acids and enzymes are secreted for the main digestive process. In an earlier selection, I discussed how Agni works and how Ama, toxins, are created. It And in it, I mentioned that if you put something heavy on top of your fire, it'll put out the flame. Well, heavy is related to taste. Remember, sweet taste is considered the heaviest taste. Eating this taste predominantly puts out our digestive fire, which creates toxins, Ama. So when we're eating these sweet foods, what we're doing is dosing that fire with like wet logs, essentially. It's like, yeah, you're giving me something, I'm gonna try, but then, It's important to select foods from all 6 tastes in proportion to what suits you. Taking the time to check where your Agni is at is important. The way you check in is to ask yourself, is there real hunger or not? If there is, then your Agni is ready to receive food. If not, then Ama will be created, and no matter what you choose. This is a perfect example of listening to your needs of the body. Let's further explore these aspects of sweet taste. The question about real hunger, that's a real thing. I was talking to Thrill one day. We was vibing. He was like, yeah, it was like me, him, my boy Mari. It was a few of us just chopping it up. And he said, when's the last time you've been hungry? And they were like, oh man, like 3 hours ago, I ain't eaten nothing in a minute. And it was like, but is that like hunger, or is that just, is that just, oh, I'm just gonna eat something, I'm kind of bored, or I don't really want to do the other things that I really want to do, so I can satisfy myself with something to eat. And then he was like, well, if you were really hungry, then how were you able to go, like, if you were really hungry after 3 hours, then how were you able to fast for like 2 days or fast for a day? And he was like, I see what you mean. And then we started talking about different types of hunger and like where you feel it in the body and what that experience is like, as opposed to just, this is a feeling, like what is the process? Anyway, the process of processing food, and not just food, just substance in general, because we mentioned last week, things that we read, things that we see is just food for the mind space. I continue. In Ayurveda, it said that the sweet taste is the taste of love. Love provides a feeling of nourishment. Therefore, the sweet taste is one that nurtures the body. When there's a lack of love in your life, you tend to reach for the sweet taste more than any other taste. Being the heaviest taste, sweet pacifies Vata. I'm Vata, and I'm going to tell you now, the sweets be getting me where I need to be. Oh, I just took the Kit Kats in the other room. So don't worry about that. The sniggity snacks is my thing. So I'm telling you, I love it. Okay, the outside world can be overwhelming at times. Sweet foods build flesh and fat in the body, which can be protective blubber from the outside world. We reach for something that will bring comfort, but it gives us a false sense of security and love. Overeating sugars and carbs have created a modern-day problem of obesity in the U.S. Another example of this connection between love and sweets is how people give each other the gift of chocolate every year on Valentine's Day. We also use endearing terms like honey, sugar, sweetie, and to call our loved ones. What it is that attracts us to this sweet taste more than any other? Well, it's the first taste we experience right out of the chute. Well, we go from the womb to the breast. Do you have any idea how sweet breast milk is? Well, I do. I remember when my first daughter, Shanti, was born and her mother was engorged with milk. Please take some of this from my breast, Shanti's mother asked me. It's too much for Shanti, and I'm ready to explode. Are you serious? Thinking that it was a bit strange, but what the heck? I always wanted to taste it again. So I began sucking on one tit while Shanti was sucking on the other. She looked over at me with the biggest grin on her face and pushed my head off her nipple, as if she was saying, what do you think you're doing? That's mine. Did I not mention it was sweet? So I ain't gonna fake. I'm gonna give it a shot. I've mentioned, I posted G is now 33 weeks. So we're like 7 weeks out until the baby just go boop, and I'm ready. I'm excited for it. Ooh, the shenanigans I'm gonna have, and that she's gonna force me into. Anyway, I'm gonna get that. That's gonna be one of them. Let me give it a shot. Okay. There are so many signs of weak Agni creating Ama. Feeling heavy, unclear thinking, dull eyes, aches and pains, poor circulation, joint inflammation, bloating, gas, skin blemishes, fever, lack of energy, sickness of stool, phlegm or excess mucus, cloudy urine, also foul smells of urine, sweat, stool, phlegm, lack of appetite, tired or after eating, catching a cold easily, thick white coating of the tongue, and nasty lips, right? So these are just signs that'll lead you and help guide you down an idea of what's going on. And based on the different symptoms, they fall under the different categories of Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and we can use Vata, Pitta, Kapha, one of the opposing energies, to balance it out. Alright, let's see. Bad combinations of food that create Ama. Alright, he goes through a few guidelines here. I'm not like a huge fan of everything that he says. However, it is in the book on page 102 if you want to, check behind me and go with it. It's here for you. Let's see. There are many reasons why people eat when they're not hungry. Yeah, we were talking about this earlier. Feeling stressed out from work or home, people eat out of a desire or comfort and crave foods that make them feel good. This refers back to what I was talking about earlier. Imbalance is based in the mind. People are looking to fill a void of emotional emptiness, not an actual physical need. They eat out of boredom and still want to feed that hunger monster or the restless mind. The restless mind, you get a great idea of that through the Sif meditation that we're going to do on Thursday. Since in the West you can get anything you want, whenever you want, wherever you want, weight problems are running rampant. People also eat out of convenience. How many of you eat lunch or dinner at a certain time or reach for a snack between meals? Not necessarily because you're hungry, but that's the 12 o'clock time or the 6 o'clock time. I used to be heavy on that, especially when I was working at UPS. I was there for 9 years driving and stuff, and I was like, nah, whenever I get off, I gotta have a meal. I gotta have I'm going out the building coffee I gotta stop on the way. I'm gonna get me like some hot dogs from 7-Eleven. I'm gonna get some taquitos because they was like 3 for $3, and that with a coffee. Let's get it. And then on the route around 12 o'clock, it's not my lunch, but I'm gonna stop by Subway, get me a little 12 inch, get me through part of the day. And then towards 5 o'clock, I take my lunch, chill, maybe I have a little snack, eat something. And then when I get off, I got another one. And then I had to really change that when I left UPS. Ooh, hell of a shift, real swift too. Let's see, people, blah, 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 blah. If you don't want to listen to nature, you pay the price. And it comes down to this. Weak Agni and Ama are created by simply not listening to inherent needs of who you are. And if you become a slave to your mind, you are bound to create dis-ease. A great example of this is the way people treat their pets. They feed their pets as if they're feeding themselves. Domesticated pets have the same disorders as their owners. You never see this taking place in animals in the living world. Have you ever seen an overweight coyote? Probably not, but your neighbor's German Shepherd is probably breaking out of skin. I mean, that's real. Seeing disorders of the person in the pet. We ain't even going to dive into that. I'm going to let y'all set the scene. I'll go in after. Okay. A healthy Agni is also associated with a healthy appetite for life. Centurions, people who have lived to be over 100 years, say without a doubt, a passion for life has been their secret for longevity. They're excited about living and see life as one big adventure. They remain young at heart and their body matches their enthusiasm. Some could have possibly extended their lives even longer if they incorporated yoga and made healthier choices and lifestyle choices. Healthier food and lifestyle choices. But the main factor for them living that long, it was their attitude of gratitude and having fun. Right, so now there are 4 types of Agni. We're on page 104 again, and the only way out is in. Every Monday night we're back here thanks to Yogi, Urban Yogi Wellness and Education, and myself, the Floating Yogi. Boom! Come on now. The 4 types of Agni. So we were mentioning like Agni is the digestive fire, and there's 4 types of Agni. Vishama Agni, which is variable and associated with Vata. Tiksha Agni, which is sharp and intense and relates to Pitta. Mangda Agni, which is slow and connected to Kapha. So again, all of these are the energies that are connecting back. Vishama Agni has no pattern and its appetite goes up and down with no apparent reason. It's a very sensitive digestive system that requires constant vigilance. Symptoms of this Agni may appear as a nervous stomach or intestines with a lot of bloating or gas. Tikasha Agni is extreme hunger. And there is always a need to eat all the time. If not, anger will be there. Yeah, I know a lot of y'all fit in with that. I'ma just, you drop a heart if you fit in with that one. That ain't me. I'm the first one. I go all day without eating. If G ain't bring some food, I go, oh shit, thank you. I appreciate you. I'd have just withered away. Okay. There's a need to eat all the time, and it's a good idea to have food around those types. Otherwise, look out. People tend to be jealous of this type because they can eat anything they want and never gain weight. Now notice that is also an aspect of it. They're actually digesting the food that they're taking in, and they eat whatever they want. So they're actually utilizing. It's not just stagnant energy, stagnant nutrients building up that ama, those toxins in the body. Magna Agni gains weight easily because it's a low fire. Therefore, it's not really that much hunger, and whatever is eaten turns into fat. Sama Agni is what we all want. Sama is the result of balanced mind and body. When we are happy and content with our Agni, it burns strong. You will have a healthy appetite for life. Your choices will be clear. You will naturally choose what's right for you. Agni is built from the inside out, so if you're happy, your Agni will be too. Getting stuck in the following regimens or popping pills or going on diets has no beneficial effect. When you're not content, no matter how organic or how pure the food is you eat, it still won't nourish you. I have to say from experience that the most important factor for strong Agni is healthy enthusiasm for life. This includes playing, laughing, enjoying life's many pleasures. So when you really want that piece of chocolate cake, eat it and enjoy it fully. I support that. No diet, no pills, none of those are really gonna bring you anything that you really want. Like surgery too, it'll be short-term and short-lived. I know a few people that don't keep up with the work that they do get. So it's a little rough. However, that's why you just need that healthy diet, balanced food choices, healthy movement and balanced food choices, and breathing. I'm sure it's going to get into breathing. Yep, I see it over here. I'm going too far. Okay. Circulation of nutrients and the transformation of the 7 Dhatus. In Ayurveda, the distribution of nutrients through the whole body happens to be an intricate set of processes called the 7 Dhatu cycles. These 7 tissues are nourished by a strong digestive fire, or Jatara Agni. When the food is fully digested by a strong Agni, it is able to proceed to the first tissue, or the Dhatu rasa. Each Dhatu does its thing by feeding the next one in line until all 7 are completely nourished. There is an Agni at each tissue which plays a major role in the refining process as well. This Agni has to be strong in order to adequately nourish the tissues that follow. The end product is the essence of all 7 is called ojas. Ooh, yeah, they're going to get in that. Once the food you eat has been properly digested, it makes its way to the first tissue, rasa, which is plasma and lymph. then into the Rakta, blood, which is the blood, then into the Mamsa, the muscle, the Meda, the fat, the Ashti, bone, the Maja, the nerve, and Shukra, and Artava, the reproductive tissue. These are the 7 stages of nourishment that happen in the mind and body. These 7 tissues can be seen as factories. Once each factory has sufficiently completed its job, it passes its raw material to the next factory for more refinement. Similar to an assembly line. It's good to begin by selecting high pranic or sattvic foods. We talked about the other week, the sattvic foods. And pranic, not organic foods, just foods from life, like not meat. Yeah, that makes it simple. Sattvic foods. Foods rich with vibrant energy and aliveness, not overcooked or processed. If possible, organic, otherwise the end product is not the highest quality. The first bodily tissue is called rasa, and its energy is pranayana, which means nourished. Another meaning is romantic love. When the body is hungry, each of its cells are hungry. And just as a withering plant begins to wake up immediately, then when watered, each cell perks up when fed. Rasa in itself is not sufficient to nourish the whole organism, but it is a taste of what's coming. The body feels loved. It gives the body mind a feeling of confidence. You know, that feeling when you're in love and you feel like you're on top of the world. All right. So that's the first one, Rasa. Rasa is the plasma lymph system. Your body has 2 circulatory systems, one for the blood and another for the lymph. Blood plasma is yellow-colored liquid in which the blood cells are suspended. It is the largest single component of blood, making up about 55% of total blood volume. Mainly composed of water, blood proteins, and inorganic electrolytes, it serves as a transport medium for glucose, lipids, amino acids, hormones, etc. The remaining 45% of the blood is made up of red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. The lymph system moves blood plasma and distributes nutrients to all parts of the body. There are twice as many lymph vessels as blood vessels, and the volume of the lymph in the body is twice that of the blood. And that gives a good idea of the difference between like the lymphatic system and the blood system. One is like the lymphatic system is think of the secretions in the body, and blood is your blood. They're 2 different things. I think it's kind of simple. I think we get it. Yeah. All right. The circulation of the lymph system results from pressure applied to the muscle contractions near the vessels. That's why it's important that you move your body, especially a conscious movement like yoga. I got you tomorrow. Come on, join it. TheFloatingYogi.com. Bring that ass, let's get it. Okay. Which gets the nutrients deeper in the body into the tissue, levels beyond normal exercise. This is how the Agni and the plasma rasa level is stoked. When nourished, there is a sense of fullness to the tissue and pleasure in the mind. The whole body and mind experience a deep rest from knowing that there's plenty of juice for living life without reservation. The next tissue is called Rakta, or blood tissue. Its action is called Jivyana, which means passion or invigoration. One of those Rakta is nourished, once those Rakta is nourished as a passion for life. One whose Rakta is nourished has a passion for life. Remember, Pitta is associated with blood. So if Pitta is high, then you're said to be hot-blooded. Blood is highly specialized circulating tissue consisting of several types of cells suspended in a fluid medium known as plasma or rasa. That's why I was just going to let this book tell it. Red blood cells carry oxygen from the lungs to the tissues. Blood is another red color because it contains hemoglobin, an iron-containing protein that binds oxygen in the lungs and transports it to the tissues of the blood. Here are yet some more symbiotic relationships we have with nature. Blue-green algae, the algae that comes from the something lake, is another way to oxygenate the blood through food. This algae is rich in nutrients, specifically chlorophyll, which has an indirect relationship in the oxygenation of the blood. Chlorophyll is the substance that makes plants green and allows them to use the energy of light to create their food, the photosynthesis concept. I've actually been taking some chlorophyll, like 15 drops of chlorophyll in the water in the morning, about like 8 ounces or something small, and just knocking it back. And it has been helping my eczema a little bit. My eczema's been jumping off the chain for like the past 2 months. Shifting seasons plays into that. And the whole Vata thing. We'll get into it. We'll continue to get into it, and you can just check back on the past episodes to get up to speed, because we already talked about this. Alright, let's see where we at. Remarkably, green plants, especially algae, create oxygen for us to live, while we, on the other hand, put out carbon dioxide for them to breathe. Did you know that 70 to 80% of the oxygen we breathe comes from algae? I mentioned earlier that the oceans cover about 70% of this planet, and land is only 30. If we assume that every square mile of the ocean produces as much oxygen as every square mile of land, then this makes sense. Chlorophyll has exactly the same molecular structure as hemoglobin, except it has a magnesium atom in the center. The lifeblood of us humans is paralleled by the lifeblood of us fellow plants, except for that atom in the center of the molecule. Their molecular affinity, the molecular affinity these two have for each other, could explain why eating blue-green algae, one of the richest sources of chlorophyll and iron available, has been found to boost hemoglobin production, generally improving oxygenation in our blood and our bodies, helping with iron deficiencies. With good rakta, the blood tissue, you experience more passion for life and feel overwhelming excitement to continue to participate without fear or exhaustion. You're literally inspired and inspiring others when this tissue is nourished. Ooh, go and get it. I think I'm on it like a mug. I just told you, I've been rocking with the chlorophyll. I'm feeling it. You feeling it? Let's get in it. Mamsa, the third dhatu, is muscle tissue. Its energy is one of plastering called lipana. It provides a barrier between you and the outside world and gives you a sense of security. Muscle tissue is classified as skeletal, cardiac, or smooth, and its function is to produce motion, either locomotion or movement within internal organs. Much of the muscle contractions occur without conscious thought and is necessary for survival, like the contraction of the heart or the parasyllus, which pushes food through the digestive system. Because it is linked to the autonomic nervous system, I'll go into more detail about involuntary muscles when we're speaking about breathing exercises or pranayama in the Ashtanga practice section. So you already know he's gonna get into the breath work. That's one of my things. Breath work, highly important. And really helps us to tap into the autonomic nervous system and some of the functions of the nervous system, not just to say the nervous system itself, but what are the functions that we can pick out that we don't have that conscious awareness of. Voluntary muscle contraction is used to move the body and can be finely controlled, like movements of the eye or gross movements of the quadriceps and muscles of the thigh. There are approximately 639 skeletal muscles in the human body. Musculature activity accounts for much of the body's energy consumption. Mamsa is also represented as the connective tissue in the body. This matrix of tissue plasters together a whole bodily structure between muscles. With strong mamsa, you feel a sense of courage and confidence. When you exercise and build muscle tissue, don't you feel better about yourself? Yet overdoing it, bodybuilding, by lifting weights, is usually a sign of insecurity and increasing the mamsa to an unhealthy proportion. I see what he's saying. I know some they're not that healthy. That's real. Also, when you have had the flu, your mamsa deteriorates through inactivity, leaving you feeling weak and susceptible to everyone's influences. If there is no juice from your raka in the muscle tissue, then vitality of movement is impossible. The next dhatu is called medas, or fat tissue. Its energy is sneha, which means affection or love, like that of a mother and child. And just as the mother holds you and cuddles you when in need of love and warmth, so does medas. This tissue is being fed by mamsa, which depends on the strength of the agni in the muscle tissue for its nourishment. Healthy mamsa keeps the medas from over-accumulating and turning into a disposed tissue of fat. Fat accumulates in the deepest level in the subcutaneous layers, providing insulation from heat and cold around organs, and it provides a protective padding. It also functions as a reserve of nutrients. Medas provides a lubrication inside for proper flow and protection of organs, tissue, and joints. Sweat is the waste product of medas, and it serves as the insulator to protect us from the cold. Fat increases a feeling of warmth and comfort, as if you had your favorite down comforter on your bed, hence my aversion to the cold weather, since I have a little or no fat when I live and this dude lives in the tropics. I don't live in the tropics. I'm in DC. It's about to get cold, and I'm ready for it. Because the Halloween yoga getaway is happening. When? Oh my gosh, on Halloween. Go and sign up on the website. You can see the brooms, some of the shenanigans we got planned, pumpkin carving, smoke bombs, photographer. It's happening. Okay. Let's see. It drives women crazy since I can eat whatever I want when I want and not gain an ounce. If this tissue is nourished well, you will have healthy fat. If not, you will have excess fat or medas that may have problems with obesity. Healthy medas, in turn, feeds the next tissue, which is asti. Asti is bone tissue, which creates dharana with a strong foundation of support. It gives form to the shape of the body. If we had no bones, then we would be a mass of flesh sitting on the floor. Bone gives us support for muscles, organs, and soft tissue. It protects the internal organs, the rib cage, the heart and lungs, and the brain, the skull. They assist in leverage and movement. Healthy asti gives you a sense of stability and security. When this tissue is weak, you will feel internally insecure and unstable. Indirectly, the bones are responsible for hemophosis and formation of blood cells. More precisely, this is performed by the marrow intersphered within the spongy interior of the bone and is linked more with the maja, the next issue we're getting into. Bones are porous, not solid, giving lightness and fluidity to the body. And lastly, they're the last things to disintegrate when the body decays. Yeah, bones are definitely light, lighter than I generally was expecting, and hella strong. And I do feel like it's a lot of that porousness inside it that gives it that flexibility. And with the practice, one of the great things about it is we start twisting and putting pressure and weight on the bones. So then when the bone does get hit with, boom, something, its natural response isn't to snap, it's to go with it, and it could be more of a lighter injury than a more intense one. If the body is cremated, bones turn to ash, minerals, form dust unto dust. Strong hair, nails, and teeth are signs of good osteopathy. Mineral absorption happens in the colon, where the minerals calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium, sulfur, chloride, as well as micronutrients, cobalt, zinc, copper, iron, selenium, etc. are found. The mineral calcium phosphate builds bone, neutralizes acidity, clears toxins, and helps the bloodstream. Micronutrients catalyze many functions in the body: healthy tissue repair, immune system support, real important around these times, right? Protein metabolism, and so on. There's a direct relationship between good colon health and vitality of the tissues requiring minerals. You should make sure you have macro minerals in your diet. Blue-green algae is another great source of trace elements that are missing in our corporate farm food chains. These trace elements are also found in fresh organic produce from your local farmers. Yeah, there's one right down Florida Avenue every single Sunday. Go and check that joint out. And I know there's a few more that are going to be popping up. I may have my hand in a couple. Another reason to buy organic food is to ensure that you're not taking in all the contaminants such as pesticides, herbicides that the body has to deal with on top of everything else that it does. Ayurveda states that the Ashti's nourishment comes from the colon. When proper assimilation and absorption of minerals, calcium and phosphorus, take place in the colon, then the bones are nourished. Another very interesting nourishment happens via the colon, which is prana absorption. Prana comes from two sources. First, through the lungs and breathing, and the second is through the food in the colon. This is one more integral relationship that happens in Western medical science does not recognize. It's quite amazing to note that when the lungs are congested, the colon has to work harder to extract prana or vice versa. When the colon is stagnated, the lungs must work harder. So if you're constipated, you gotta breathe more, right? That can help, that really guaranteed can help you get it out. Another example of integral relationship are the kidneys and the skin. When the kidneys are not working efficiently, our skin picks up some slack. Conversely, if you're not sweating properly, the kidneys have to work harder. The sixth layer, or maja, is called purana, or filling of space. It is connected to the fatty yellow bone marrow and the blood-forming red bone marrow. This is related to the formation of red blood cells and platelets, stem platelets, and white blood cells of our immune system. It also applies to the nervous system, the electrical wiring of the body, including the brain and spinal cord. We are considered a bioelectrical organism with a network of wiring that, when laid out end to end on the ground, goes on for miles. It is spread through every fiber of our being, from the tips of our toes to the top of our head. The main channel of this current is an electrical energy that flows up and down the spine, acting as a central nervous system. The function of the nervous tissue is connection between all parts of the body. A strong and healthy nervous system buffers us from the ever-present array of energies attempting to get our attention, especially in this modern day and age. Maja, when fully nourished, overflows to feed the next tissue. The seventh tissue is Shirka, male, and Artava, female. They are the reproductive tissues. Graba, Opanada, which means embryo production. Shukra is mostly related to sperm, and Artava is the ovum or egg. If you are not procreating, this energy is directed to other creative outlets: art, poetry, music, dance. Many people in modern society disperse it into the world through their work, creating money. If this tissue is weak, then there is no juice to produce anything worthwhile. Each month, endometrial tissue grows and thickens in the preparation to receive the fertilized egg. Menstruation occurs when this tissue is not used, disintegrates and passes through the vagina. It is also directly related to our creative energy, your life force juice. As you can see, reproductive tissue is the accumulation of all tissues. So it's like, oh, I've gotten all myself and stuff together now. Reproduce type deal. Okay, let's do it. The ojas. After food is broken down in the mouth and stomach by Jathar Agni, then it'll take about 5 days to create each bodily tissue. For instance, when you cut yourself, since it's the first tissue, it'll take about 5 days to heal. When you break a bone, which is the 5th tissue, it'll take about 25 days to heal. When you pull a muscle, the 3rd tissue, it takes about 15 days. It's important to note that when a healthy body is healing, it passes through each layer at a rate of 3 to 5 days. However, in a body that has lost vitality or has compromised the immune system, it may take 5 to 10 days or more to heal that same problem. It takes the longest time to create reproductive tissue, approximately 35 days. When a man constantly eliminates his vital fluid, shukra, through ejaculation, he diminishes his vitality and weakens his immune system. A man can learn how to have an orgasm without ejaculating. This is very real. This vital energy is lost through coming, can be redirected to build up the immune system, along with nourishing other organs and the previous 6 vital tissues. Coming should actually be called going, and he said he'll go over that in the contra section. That's more so because it's just a complete loss of energy and a loss of that build-up through these 7 different tissues that we were just speaking of. So once it's expelled, it's like it could have been used for, like he mentioned before, it could have been used for healing, or any of that other energy can go into that creative. It doesn't have to be reproduction. It could be in the form of creating our dreams and manifesting them into this reality. But he does go over it a little bit more in the Tantra section, which is kind of important because that's where people just got it all out of whack. They be talking about Tantras, about sex, and all this other stuff. Yo, I even had an interview. I encourage you to check it out. Let me see if I can get the interview. Let me try to drop it on one of these. We were talking about Tantra, sex, sensual yoga, how it's seen today. And I was like, yeah, that joke's trash. Look, I'm going to see if I can get it and post it up. If you're rocking with the music that you hear in the background track is myself and Ahmed, the floating yogi, the yogi man. Check that out. The floating yogi and the yogi man. You can check it out on all streaming platforms. You just check out the floating yogi. More tracks will be coming up, and we'll also be recording some tracks on this upcoming Halloween yoga getaway that I've been rapping with y'all about. So, we're almost done with this section. We're almost done with tonight. And, we're almost done with tonight's session. However, you can flow with us tomorrow. Check out the website, thefloatingyogi.com. And all the classes are by donation. It's about growing together and elevating the community. A lot of this knowledge hasn't been privy to us. And this is where I'm just going to say, yeah, strike that. I'm going to create that knowledge for us to have, for us to go back over so we can grow together. Alright, let's get back to it. So we talked about a man and ejaculating and how that's like, now I'm going to go to sleep. No, it should be rejuvenating. So, and there's other ways to do it. However, for a woman, how she experiences her menstrual cycle is directly related to its essential fluid. This blood that would have been used in the uterus to feed the newly forming embryo is shedding during menstruation. So this precious fluid is important to regulate in a creation of a healthy cycle. A woman can do this through good diet choices as well as particular herbs according to her prakrti or vikrti. The cycle should not be longer than a few days or excess bleeding. Otherwise, many nutrients are lost every month. This repetitive cycle, month after month, can weaken the immune system in all tissues. It is healthy for women to bleed every month as it is cleansing and revitalizing process, but excess bleeding is debilitating. In women, signs of poorly nourished Artava show up as irregular and painful menstruation, as well as fertility and uterus issues. Conscious movement like yoga is the thread that weaves together the vibrant health. It plays a major role in keeping the Agni burning strong at each level to allow for complete nourishment to take place. Any exercise is good, but yoga asana is my opinion. In my opinion, is by far the best. And in my opinion, by far the best. Tomorrow's class, tap in with us. There's modifications for all levels. All you got to do is just tap in and say, yeah, I haven't done this before. I'll meet you there and we'll grow. It feeds not only the gross physical levels, the cells, tissue, organs, but also the subtle pathways, the nadis, thus creating a more efficient and thorough way of keeping the body and mind beaming with vitality. And the next one is prana, tejas, and ojas. And we were talking about ojas, like that final fluid that's created after we properly nourish those 7 previous tissues, from blood to lymphatic fluid to bone, all that fun stuff. The next one is ojas. So again, this book is The Only Way Out is in. We haven't had the knowledge like handed to us. Here it is. It's handed to you and read to you. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I encourage you to get the book and tap in with us. If you want to just check up on some of the stuff that you missed, you can check my Instagram or on YouTube, and we'll be back next week with some more love. However, I'd like to thank UE, Urban Yoga Wellness and Education, for sponsoring this. I'd like to also thank our partners, Thrill Audio Solutions, DJ Thrill, No Commercials International, Born to Fly, and